Hello and welcome to my first video. Because I am extremely unoriginal, I'll be talking about unpopular opinions inside the K-pop community. Today's unpopular opinion are from Reddit. I'll be stating if I agree or disagree and give my reasoning for why I agree or disagree. Also, small reminder, these are just opinions, not facts, and I'll try my best not to offend anyone. Now without further ado, let's get started. I don't really understand the hype around Butterfly by Luna.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
Now I will admit I am in orbit. But I became one way after the Butterfly era, so like what I'm about to say isn't bias or just a fan hyping up their fave. Anyways, for me, I loved this song on first listen. The song dropped when I was going through a rough time my junior year of high school. I wouldn't say my grades were horrible or that I wanted to drop out, but every class was so hard. I felt so dumb and stupid trying to attempt my schoolwork for most of my classes, and I had also came to the conclusion that none of my friends actually cared for me, and that 99.9% of my acquaintances would have been better friends than the ones I had at the time. I just wanted to quit on everything, and when I heard Butterfly, I loved the actual song. So on my second listen I looked up the lyrics, and oh my god, this song was just what I needed. I think most people take Butterfly is a song about love or lust for another, but for me, every time they said you, in my head it translated to the person I aspire to be or who I can become, and how close and easy it can be if I tried. And I know 17 BTS got 7 and a lot more groups have been singing about self-love way before this came out, but this song was the one made me want to love myself, and that's the case for many others. On top of that, the choreography, styling, MV, and actual song itself was all amazing. So I understand the hype around Butterfly and will respectfully have to disagree. I don't really like the cool girl, tomboy image title that fans give some girl group members. You know, because I 110% agree. It's so irritating seeing stans label certain members as tomboyish, because then anytime they do any type of concept other than super bubbly cute, fans start calling them handsome. And I'm not trying to say women can't be handsome, but traditionally the term is used for men, and you never know how that could make a female idol feel when their fans are only calling them handsome and never sexy, cute, or pretty. And yes, I've only seen around 2 idols come out and say that they don't like being called that, and I'm sure a lot of other female idols feel the same. Also, I want to clarify that I'm not saying women can't be masculine. I'm just saying don't go crazy with the whole label of someone being a tomboy. I don't care if it's rigged to the core. I just want another new season of Produce 101.
No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am.
I'm going to have to disagree, and for multiple reasons. The first being is I genuinely found the show boring and it was never exciting for me. Second being the editing and screen time for certain trainees just weren't fair. It makes no sense on how they can give a good 7 of the contestants screen time and at least 3 of them will be evil edited later on in the show, and for the rest of the trainees we'll only get to see their personality and talent once half the other contestants are eliminated. The third reason is that there's so many other survival shows by Mnet and not by Mnet you can watch, so I personally don't see why you can't just watch those. Fourth reason is that I'm getting older. I am an 02-liner, and there's so many past survival shows for groups where some of the contestants were literally 12 or 13 and they were borderline preparing themselves for sexy concepts. Nowadays companies want idols to be more versatile, and it makes me super uncomfortable seeing so many young trainees sexualize theirself, and it's so easy to overlook these things when the trainee is older than you. But once you're like 16, 17, 18 and you see so many idols and trainees get sexualized, it'll make you uncomfortable too. We saw a bit of that in season 3, so I'm sure the trend wouldn't end for season 5, and for me that's just something I don't want to see at all, even if it's only for one cover or tryout audition. My fifth reason I'll be stating is that you also have to consider how the idol must feel. Now I know most of X1, if not all of X1, didn't want to disband, and neither did I, but imagine someone constantly saying you / your fave don't deserve their fame or spot 24/7, or that your fave stole someone more deserving of their spot. It would get tiring and draining fast, not to mention all the harm that could do to someone's reputation. It'll also just put extra stress on the person too, because then they'll have to always prove that they are good enough, when by default we should treat every idol with respect and never doubt if they were good enough to debut. I have so many other reasons, but I don't want this section to be too long. Hyuna's I'm Not Cool is an obnoxious song.
Well,
I'm not the biggest fan of Hyuna and don't like most of her music, and so I wasn't surprised that I didn't really like I'm Not Cool. But I wouldn't say the song is obnoxious because I didn't find the song extremely unpleasant to hear. For me it was just okay. It wasn't my cup of tea, and that doesn't make it a bad song, so I will have to disagree because I just didn't like the song. Calling your faves perfect is toxic behavior.
I'm just gonna start off by saying, like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, like, I honestly feel bad for you. Like, I cannot explain it. Like, I don't have the vocabulary to sit here and explain, like, either you get the vibe or you don't get the vibe.
I will have to disagree because majority of the time no one is actually being serious. We all know our faves aren't perfect and that we're all human. Calling your fave perfect is just another way of hyping them up. Most stans aren't being literal when they say that. Also, I feel that we call a lot of people perfect, for example our partners, friends, crushes, and even parents, but deep down we know they aren't perfect and everyone makes mistakes, so I don't see stans calling their bias perfect as being delusional or toxic. I think you took someone admiring their idol a bit too serious. YG is a good company now.
I see you. We good. Okay. We good. I see. We see each other. We see each other. We good.
Now before I say I agree with OP, I want you to hear their reason because I agree with most of their points. YG is a good company now. I mean, I've seen so many posts calling YG out for their mistreatment, but ever since Yang Hyun-suk stepped down, I think YG has been good. Better take this with a grain of salt, since no one truly knows what goes on behind the scene. My first thought, Blackpink. Blackpink and other girl groups in YG are known to be mistreated and not promoted enough, which is where most of the hate for YG comes from. Ever since the man YG himself stepped down, over time Blackpink has been promoted a lot. IDK about award shows, but they all finally have a chance to promote solo as well. Solo songs, YouTube channels, and a whole drama. They got like 2 music videos for their latest comeback, a whole Netflix documentary, and a lot more freedom. Once again we don't know what goes on behind the scenes though. And X200B. My second thought, the style change. Now, this is less proving the stop of the mistreatment, but more proving the fact that a change did happen. All of YG's past boy groups have had hip styles, focused less on dance and more on music, but they still get really popular. And they could have easily done that with Treasure as well. I mean, a whole member left before debut because the group didn't have the same music tastes he had, and Treasure has done extremely well for a group that debuted in 2020. They have comebacks like have 3.5 months. And you could argue that they are being overworked, which is a valid point, but they are doing well because of it. And X200B. My mini thoughts. First of all, Akmu and other artists re-signing their contracts, which no one thought would be happen. There's also YG intentionally not so unintentionally revealing their girl group. Some people say that they are not treating iKON well, but their whole leader and center of their group left. The members themselves have said they miss him. They got one comeback and I think that is enough for them. Once again we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I think they just needed some time. Seeing how Bobby came back with the whole 17-song album, and iKON is almost confirmed for Kingdom. Speaking about Kingdom, YG has also fixed its ties to a lot of companies and made new ties. I mean, no one could have predicted a YG group on Kingdom, which is an MNET show. They also made the recent deal with Big Hit, which once again no one saw coming. Which is what led me to post this. OMG, that was a lot, but yet I agree with OP. I don't believe YG is necessarily a good company, but they are definitely a lot better than what they were 2 years ago and has made a ton more better decisions in 2020 than any other year, and I'm still not sure if I would call them a good company just yet, but only time will tell. Felix could have been a vocalist. I agree. I know Stray Kids is supposed to be a rap-heavy group, but all the members could definitely pass as a vocalist, which is so cool. Everyone go stan Stray Kids right now. Anyways, this opinion is about Felix and not Stray Kids as a whole, so back to Felix. I genuinely love his vocals, and last I remembered Felix trained for about a year, which compared to other idols isn't that long. I feel that if Felix was under any other company and had him debut last year or this year, they would have trained him more in vocals than in rap, and I'm not saying Felix wasn't skilled enough to debut. I'm just saying I think most companies would have looked past the deep voice and made him a vocalist. On top of that, Felix really enjoys singing. I'm not sure if he prefers rapping over singing, but I know he enjoys it. The only reason why he doesn't sing more is because he is insecure about his vocals. and this is something he has told fans. But yet anyways, I think Felix most definitely could have been a vocalist, and I feel that in the future he'll begin to be more comfortable with singing and start to sing in a lot more songs than he does right now. Okay, that's it for today. Since I don't want this video to be too long, also just want to note I didn't take none of these opinions to heart, nor did I let any of them ruin my mood. I really hope the same applies to you. Stans can be really mean and rude, and I know no one enjoys hearing someone trash their faves, but let's not let opinions we don't agree with bother us, especially when we don't even have a clue on whose opinion it is. LOL. But yet anyways, I hope you enjoyed.